Straight ahead on CCX News, the push for funding. Robbinsdale area schools explains the need for a levy request and what will happen if it doesn't get approved. Plus, efforts to restore a historic park in Robbinsdale. And looking to adopt a pet? We'll explain what a Golden Valley animal shelter hasn't seen in several years. CCX News starts right now. The local vote will also impact local schools. Robbinsdale is one district holding a referendum this fall. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Shannon Slatton. The school funding request would bring in nearly $6 million in additional revenue. That money would help offset some of the cuts the district has had to make over the past few years. But as Delane Cleveland reports, school board members admit it's tough to ask homeowners to raise their own taxes.
Thousands of kids are enrolled in the 16 schools that make up the Robbinsdale School District. And every year, the Minnesota legislature provides the district with funding based on the number of students enrolled. But according to district officials, state funding isn't keeping up with the cost of inflation.
We'd love to see it indexed to the per pupil funding that we get from the state to be indexed to inflation. We ask for it every year, we're denied every year. Then we also have to go ask every year for additional funds. Sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't.
School board member Mike Herring says that because expenses exceed revenue, the district has had to make nearly $17 million in cuts over the last 2 years.
The majority of what we were able to cut came from our central office or our administrative areas. We stayed away from the classroom as much as we could.
However, he said classroom cuts are looming if the district doesn't generate more funding.
We are projected to have about a $4 to $4.5 million budget shortfall right now for next year. We'd have more cuts.
The school board doesn't want more cuts, so they're asking voters to approve an operating levy that would increase by $515 per student, bringing in nearly $6 million in additional revenue.
All we're doing is we're going out to ask our voters to make up that difference, and it's a tough ask. We understand, especially for those on, fixed incomes, but our schools improve our community.
He says it's a tough ask because the tax impact on the average homeowner living in a house valued at $223,000 would be about $12.50 more per month than they're paying now. But to avoid cuts in the classroom, he says it's a price worth paying.
I know that our community is going to do the right thing at the end of the day, and they're going to support our children.
Well, the district can't actively campaign to encourage voters to support the referendum, but they do have listening sessions planned where people can get more information. The listening session will take place September 29th at Marna's Cafe in Robbinsdale. Another one will be October 13th at the Lunds and Byerly's in Golden Valley. Both events go from 7:30 to 9:30 in the morning. Shannon?
All right, thank you, Delane. The Anoka-Hennepin School Board has made a decision in an attempt to address an overcrowding issue. Monroe Elementary in Brooklyn Park has a popular STEM program that led to more students attending there than the school can reasonably hold. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. To fix the overcrowding issue, the school board decided to transition Evergreen Park World Culture School in Brooklyn Center to have a STEM focus like at Monroe. Evergreen Park is under capacity. The transition will take a few years. In the meantime, the district may have to limit open enrollment at Monroe Elementary. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office has filed charges against a Crystal construction contractor, accusing him of using undocumented workers and threatening to deport those workers unless they followed his orders. Ricardo Patrice is charged with labor trafficking, insurance fraud, and theft by swindle. Prosecutors say Patrice recruited undocumented workers for his wood wall framing and sheetrock installation business. According to authorities, he forced the employees to work long hours without overtime pay and without proper safety equipment. He also did not purchase workers' compensation insurance as required by law. The case is one of the first times a labor trafficking charge has been brought in Minnesota. A Golden Valley company that developed a tool to help police better respond to emergency situations now has a familiar face as its new president. Former Minneapolis Police Chief Janae Harteau was named president of Vitals this week. The company developed the Vitals app, which is used by several police departments across the state, including in Plymouth. The app is designed to improve interactions between first responders and individuals with autism, dementia, and other conditions that may prevent people from communicating effectively with police during an emergency. The Brooklyn Park City Council has approved plans for a memory care and assisted living facility near City Hall. Sweet Living Senior Care will feature more than 30 private suites for elderly residents. This kind of facility is supposed to provide more of a home-like atmosphere. City Council members say there is a need for these kind of facilities in the city as the population ages. St. Therese Senior Living and Care Facility in New Hope is celebrating a major milestone. For 50 years, the Catholic nonprofit has supported local seniors and their families with innovative programs designed to help seniors live more independently. The facility also offers a list of services, including memory and hospice care. The organization also has its own rehab department. They serve more than 400 people between their acute care facility and apartment living. They first opened in 1968 as the first Catholic campus in Hennepin County.
We have our care center that includes our palliative care, hospice, memory care, and so really encompassing the entire person, not only for your well-being, but spirituality. Our faith-based mission has always been the center core of who we are.
Today, organizers set up tables and chairs for their big party tonight. St. Therese's is celebrating with business partners who have helped them out over the last 50 years. Still ahead on CCX News, the latest on efforts to revive Graesar Park in Robbinsdale. Plus, Armstrong and Maple Grove go head-to-head in a good matchup in girls swimming. But first, our weather is going back to the 50s. The end of the week and the weekend will be cool. There's a little more movement toward a long-standing drive to rehabilitate Robbinsdale's historic Graesar Park, starting with a talk at the Historical Society on Tuesday.
Our beehive in Robbinsdale is the only beehive fireplace still standing in its original location in the entire United States. So that's really makes it something of national importance.
That beehive is this fireplace, and you can see it from the road as you pass by the park. It's significant because along with Graesar Park itself, the beehive was built by the WPA during the Depression as part of a series of parks along Highway 100. Restoring the park will be expensive. A similar restoration of a smaller park with a beehive in St. Louis Park cost nearly $250,000. The city of Robbinsdale plans to have around $190,000 set aside for the park's restoration by 2021, which is when they expect MnDOT to transfer ownership to the city. The rest of the money will have to be raised, and that's what Gibson and others are trying to do. If you'd like to help or get more information, go to RestoreLilacWay.com and click on Restore Graesar Park. The Animal Humane Society has an unusually large amount of pets who are in need of a good home. Among the 4 shelters, they have about 300 animals who are currently waiting to be adopted. Their numbers in the fall are typically closer to 100 or 200. Their shelter in Golden Valley isn't out of space, and they are still taking in animals. Officials say adoption tends to slow down when school starts up in the fall, but they haven't seen a drop like this in 3 years.
We had a really robust kitten season, which is just when cats are giving birth to kittens. So we have a lot of cats that are looking for homes, about 150 plus right now. And so I think that really has played into it.
The shelter also has a lot of dogs who are looking for pet parents, particularly older dogs like 12-year-old Chloe. The rat terrier mix was surrendered after her owners could no longer take care of her.
She's done great with kids in the past, great with other dogs in the past, knows most of her basic commands, so just a great little sweetheart who is ready to go home today.
If you'd like to adopt a pet, just give them a call. Call the Animal Humane Society in Golden Valley. Still ahead, we will meet a standout student who is making his mark in music. But first, highlights from a couple of big volleyball matches, including Osseo versus Armstrong. John Jacobson is in next.
Armstrong is a defending Northwest Suburban Conference champion in girls swimming. Tuesday night, they met an improved Maple Grove team in a conference duel. This one at Maple Grove Middle School. 200 medley relay, the Falcons open a quick lead. In the butterfly leg, Grace Wolschlager opens up that lead even more, setting it up for anchor Madeline Carlson to cruise to victory in a time of 1 minute 55.07 seconds. Armstrong is a very good swimmer in Sierra Smith, and she wins the 200 freestyle with a time of 1:56.42. In the 200 individual medley, Wolfschlager crushes the field, a winning time of 2:14.41. 50 free. Smith gets her second win of the night. Armstrong goes on to win the duel 95-89. It's Maple Grove's first loss of the season. The Champlin Park boys soccer team is in a stretch of games against their District 11 rivals. After beating Anoka Saturday, the Rebels hosted Coon Rapids Tuesday. A handball in the box early in the first half gives the Rebels a penalty kick. Caleb Haynes drills it in for a 1-0 lead. Later in the first, Drew Collins, a great ball over the Cardinal defenders. Colinius Ogabair chips it past the goalie and in for a 2-0 Champlin Park lead. Second half, Ogar Ebor passes to Kevin Arthur, and he touches it to Haynes, who scores, and it's 3-0 Rebels. They go on to win 4-0 over Coon Rapids, and they're at Andover on Thursday. In volleyball, Osseo is still unbeaten as we enter the final days of September. The Orioles will be tested at this weekend's St. Michael Albertville tournament. Armstrong Falcons hoping to hand the Orioles their first loss of the season. And Armstrong gets off to a good start. Riley Fry sets it to Sophie Vogel with a kill and a 4-3 lead that grows to 7-3. But Osseo gets settled in. They work the slide to Emily Rossing for the kill. Orioles rally to win the first set 25-18. The second set is all Osseo. Kelsey Seelock hammers it through the block for a 12-4 Orioles lead. Rossing gets up for a great block, and Osseo rolls to a 25-12 victory. They go up 2-0. In the third, Libby Matala hammers it home for Armstrong. They take an 8-6 lead on the Orioles, but again, Osseo takes control. Lindy O'Jury pounds it home. The Orioles breeze to a 25-14 win to get the sweep. They are now 12-0. Also in volleyball, Hopkins was at home to face 10th-ranked Wayzata in a late conference match. Hopkins in black, Claire Herring with a nice dig. Stella Swenson to Shadir Tutt, who pushes it over for a point and a 15-14 lead. Wayzata responds. Setter Olivia Johnson fools the Royals with the little dump shot there, and the Trojans pull out a close 25-22 win in the first set. Trojans keep control in the second set. Kate Long cross court for the kill. Wayzata prevails 25-20. Hopkins comes out strong in the third set, though. They get it done with defense here. Tutt with the block and a 14-7 lead for the Royals. And then they get into their offense, and Tutt will get a big swing to put it away for a kill. Hopkins holds off a Trojans rally, and they win it 25-23. But in the fourth set, Wayzata cruises as Johnson will set to Caitlin Emke. Wayzata wins in 4 sets for their second win over Hopkins this season. Champlin Park volleyball player Izzy Ashburn will take her talents to the University of Wisconsin next year. Jason Melillo profiles the senior setter on this week's Sports Jam show on CCX. Here's a clip from that story.
Champlin Park senior Izzy Ashburn is a great setter. In seconds, she can assess a defense, find the holes, and more often than not, put up a set for one of her teammates to terminate.
It kind of happens natural at this point, but there's always things I'm working on with it. Seeing the other middle, knowing where I am on the court, knowing who just played the ball, who my options are in the front row. There's a lot that goes into it, but during the game, it's not necessarily what goes through my head. It's more of a natural thing at this point.
Makes it more comfortable just as a hitter because she really knows how to put the balls in the same spots, and she's really easy to communicate with for different sets, so it really makes it fun to play with her.
Ashburn started playing volleyball in 2nd grade, and she's continually improving. The kind of person who soaks up advice and guidance from teammates and coaches and puts it to use on the floor.
Thanks, Jason. And that's it for sports. Shannon, back to you.
All right. Thank you, John. For the rest of this week in Local Vote 2018, we focus our attention on the city of Crystal. For Section 2, there are 2 candidates on the ballot. David Cummings is challenging incumbent Olga Parsons for a place on the city council.
Hello. My name is David Cummings, and I am running for Crystal City Council, Section 2. I have lived in Minnesota my whole life and in Crystal since 2011. I have been teaching for 8 years and am currently a special education teacher with Osseo area schools. The reason I got into teaching was to help make a difference in the lives of people. It's the same reason I'm running for City Council, to make a difference in my community and help people. If elected, I will work to increase the transparency of the City Council, involve as many constituent ideas as possible, improve the city's walkability and parks, and ensure that taxes are stable with common sense spending. I strongly support the light rail expansion through Crystal. I am also DFL and Labor endorsed. I hope to have your vote November 6th. Thank you.
I'm Olga Parsons, your Section 2 City Council representative. During my first term in office, I focused on responsible spending, keeping the budget trim and sensible, and planning ahead for a stable future. I focused on effective, efficient, and transparent government and strengthening our neighborhoods. Crystal has made many positive changes in the last several years, and I'm asking for your vote to keep the momentum going. You can learn more about my campaign on my website, olgaparsons.com, or call me at 612-217-2337. Thank you.
Up next, a senior from Armstrong High School who's found his own beat. Today's standout student is something of a Renaissance man. He takes AP classes, he's an athlete, singer, and he plays in the band too. We caught up with Sam Theisen, a senior at Armstrong High School, and today he's our standout student. It only takes a few moments to clue you in that the symphonic band at Armstrong High School is learning music from the musical Chicago.
And all the different swing styles, and so students are learning to do that, especially difficult sometimes for students that aren't in jazz band.
But jazz is at the top of the list for senior Sam Theisen.
Kind of all different rhythms, the whole aspect of it, being able to just kind of improvise and do what you want in some parts and having just more of a swing, laid back, relaxed rhythm to it.
Sam is first chair trombone. Not bad considering he didn't even try to play one until 9th grade.
My dad used to play trombone way back at Robbinsdale High School back in the day. And so he had an old trombone in the basement, pulled it out. I started messing around with it, and then we decided maybe this is something that I want to go forward with.
And Sam hasn't looked back. He excels not only in playing in the band, but in leading it too. He's one of the drum majors for the marching band.
Certainly being able to march and conduct at the same time. It takes a great rapport with the students. He leads by example.
Band director Todd Burkholder says Sam is always thinking ahead.
The forethought to say, is this something you're thinking about for the rehearsal tonight? Thinking ahead, and should we get this and that to go out to the field beforehand? And he's thinking ahead, and so he's already thinking like a director and thinking like beyond being a student.
Sam is thinking ahead to college, where he plans to major in business and minor in music. He wants to keep playing, possibly because when he looks back at Armstrong High School, he might remember what he played, but he'll definitely remember who he played it with.
Being able to come here, make music with a bunch of people that I've been friends with for 4, 5, 6 years, it's just really fun, and it's amazing what we can do together and accomplish.
Sam is an athlete, and he also hopes to run cross country in college. We wish him well. See you Thursday, everybody.